Welcome back, everybody, to the 2025 Tactical Games Nationals. We are now in the booth with one of our competitors. We have Kurt Fennell here. I'm Lauren Khalil, and been a longtime competitor in Tactical Games. Was competing earlier this weekend in our men's elite division. Now you're in the booth.
Yep.
What exactly happened today, Kurt?
You know, mistakes happen. Even sometimes the best that come into this sport, you know, we make mistakes. I was over at stage 4, the rifle aggregate, so it's a VTAC barricade, and you have to engage a piece of steel, 8-inch piece of steel, 50 yards, one shot piece. My rifle configuration with the way they had the VTAC cut wouldn't fit into the ports. So I made the decision to stay outside of the ports just in case my suppressor got stuck if I tried to put it into one of the ports. And was working through it, and I ended up striking the barrier on the bottom port just because I wasn't paying close enough attention to my holdover. I knew that my red dot and the target needed to be in the top of that window, and for the most of them they were, but on that one, you know, within less than 1/4 of an inch, I struck the barricade, and the way it's written in the rules, that's a match DQ, not a stage DQ. So that's the end of my weekend here.
Well, Kurt, my heart breaks for you. You're an incredibly talented athlete, an incredibly kind athlete that we've had work in our space, you know, volunteer, compete. You were a teammate for me when my athlete went down over the summer, but we appreciate you taking the time to come in the booth with us. You are probably the best long-range shooter in the men's elite division, so we're going to watch some people shoot long-range, and hopefully, if you're tuning in, you can gain some insight from one of the best here.
Let's do it.
So what they have on tap here, it is going to be a 3-round stage. They are mixing between 3 of our erg machines, the bike erg, the row erg, and the ski erg, and then they will do a little bit of shooting with the rifle at 590 yards and then 20 yards for pistol. And these are all going to be steel targets, so you'll know who's in the lead immediately because there's penalty burpee box overs at 42 inches. Kurt, how damaging is it when you have penalty work?
Well, I mean, you know, especially on this stage, right? So you've got, you know, that 590 plus or minus yard target out there. Now, it's a pretty generous target. I think it's about a 24-inch by 24-inch target, but the winds we have out here right now are variable, and that makes it very challenging. So we're getting up to gusts. It can reach up to maybe somewhere in the 12 to 14 mile per hour range. But it can also, you can get into a trough where, you know, you're dropping down to 6 or 8 miles per hour. And on a target at that distance, if you're not paying attention to that, that can make a pretty significant difference on your round. So like for me personally, if I'm looking at a 10 to 12 mile per hour wind, I'm holding somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 mils left if it's a left or right wind. And for the most part out here it is. So that's a pretty significant hold for a 5.56 round out to that distance. So they've got a lot to deal with when it comes to, you know, especially with the way they get to set up now. It looks like they get to go prone because I believe they get to choose any position they want on that tank trap, so you can absolutely get stable if you know how to get into those positions. But if not, then you got to go deal with that box.
Dealing with that box, and we talk about wind as a factor. You were able to shoot one of the stages that wasn't the longest range, but it was, you know, just under 200 yards out. How did you have to manipulate or learn on the fly where your hold would be and based on the berms and where exactly you're shooting?
Right, yeah, so here, you know, for me, it was about, like you said, 180. When I got up and was taking some wind readings and stuff like that, it was about a 10 mile per hour wind. And so for me, at about that distance, I'm looking at about a 0.4, 0.5 left hold for that. So, but what got weird for me is, you know, either there's the wind kind of turned in there because at the end of the day when I got my target back, most of my misses were left. So I was actually calculating for too much wind. Which didn't make sense because of where I was. But, you know, as you know, you're just where you're shooting is not always going to be the dictating of what happens to your round as it goes down, down the range. So luckily I was able to correct some of it because of my optic. I can actually zoom in a little bit and see some of the hits that were going on paper down there. But it's still challenging to see, especially with your heart rate being elevated and everything else that's going on. So I actually was counting for too much wind, and so most of my misses were left.
Part of tactical games is being outside, working in the elements. Yeah. And right now we have our squad 12. It's a mix of the women's tactical. That's going to be in our lanes 1 and 2. And then in lanes 3, 4, and 5, we have our women's 40-plus division. They're already making their way through their second round on the bike erg. And we keep seeing these ergs repeat. Tomorrow we even have the strength erg. Do you have a favorite erg machine and a least favorite, Kurt?
Well, the least favorite is going to be that new strength erg that those demons produced. It is miserable. I haven't gotten to do an actual event with it yet, but I've played with it over here, and I mean it will smoke you. And they've got to do one event with it at the end of the weekend where it's 90 seconds, 90 seconds, 90 seconds of all 3 of the variations of that same machine. That's going to be an absolute misery fest. But as far as my favorite one, definitely going to be the bike erg, because it's not as high, it's not as intense, right? So you can just sit there and kind of cruise and, kick up the calories per hour. So that's most likely why they put it first. It would have been nice to have it last, but
right, where you can kind of sit and relax. It doesn't fatigue your grip. You can relax your arms and hands.
That's right. Yeah.
So we apologize about the slight glitches, but the closest to the screen that we saw that was in the lead, but she did have some penalty burpees, was going to be Tamara Radke. She qualified this year in Sierra Vista, placing second. And last year at Nationals, she was able to be just outside of top 5, finishing 8th.
Yeah, especially with these penalty stages where, you're getting true results in raw time. Right, it's a really neat stage format. It's always fun because you can actually, if you're a spectator and you don't know what's going on, especially with the scoring when it comes to how things are scored, this is like, okay, she finished first. She finished first.
Right, it's much easier to know. You don't need to wait for the targets to be counted and scoring. It's either a hit or it's not, listening to the steal. I am curious, though, because we talk about this sport in the sense that it is very much community-centric because you get done with the stage and then you're not taking your water break or rest yet. No. You're actually going to then judge the next stage. For maybe new competitors or people watching at home right now, when you're trying to learn how to have the ability to know what you're doing as an athlete, listen to your judge, and then switch roles, like what's the best way to get used to that? I don't know if it's hiring a coach, coming out to skirmish, just signing up for a regional event. What's best, do you think?
I mean, for sure, experience always pays dividends, right? So getting out here, competing, whether it be a skirmish or even just, volunteering and being around it, like you'll pick it up quickly. It seems a little bit overwhelming if you've never been around it, just because it's such a new and upcoming sport. But once you get involved in it and kind of understand what's going on, like it makes sense. So you definitely get involved and coming out and doing one yourself. The skirmishes, those are growing. We got those things coming up all over the place. So getting out and getting a hold of one of those will drastically increase your understanding of what is actually going on and what you're doing versus actually like when you're, being an athlete judge, whether it be clicking or this or that, or just kind of understanding where they are and, how they're suffering, so it helps.
Are you able to, like, as you saw the women in the prone position, are you able to see it, and we'll notice once they get back there, any like body placement or tips that you can give that really do make the biggest difference?
Sure. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, the lower you can get, the more stable you should be. Is kind of the idea of the whole situation there. So, with being on the tank trap, so we don't have bipods or anything like that attached to our rifles, and we don't have bags to use. So, you've got your magazine and you've got your handguard. And those are going to be your 2 touch points when you can go prone with tank trap for an obstacle. So, getting in there, especially because this hill specifically, you're actually shooting up at an incline. So it makes it a little more challenging because now you got to tilt that rifle up a little bit more. So you've got to be able to get down. So it makes it a little bit awkward. But if you find the right position on that downward leg of the tank trap, you can then get into it and then set that magazine into the dirt. You should be pretty stable as long as you can actually take your left hand, if you're a right-handed shooter, and control that handguard on the tank trap, it should be very, very stable.
Okay, you heard it first here from Kurt Fennell. I know even competing with you, there were so many things that I was able to learn competing that weekend that there's no way I would have learned just through training, and honestly even getting my heart rate up with some of the nerves. Yes, I can get my heart rate up in training, but it's a whole other level when your hands are shaking.
When that buzzer goes off, man, it changes things.
It's so different. And, when you're training, my heart rate's up, but I don't get nervous anymore.
Right.
That now that you're at your stage where you've done this a couple times, do you still get those nerves and those butterflies?
Absolutely. And look, I mean, if you ever get to the point where you're not getting those, you need to find something else to do.
Okay.
I mean, because that is a feeling like, you're challenging yourself. Right, you're about to go do something that's challenging. That's why I'm here. That's why I love doing this stuff. That's why I show up, right? So I come out here and we go through this gauntlet of sandbags that we got here in front of us. That's not a fun experience, right? But it's a challenge, right? And not many people are willing to go through the training to come out here and do something like that. So every stage now, as the weekend goes on, it'll kind of, I'll relax a little bit more. But the first stage, on this stage, because this was really, the running, I just go run in circles, right? But on this stage, this was the first true tactical game stage, right? Where you've got to mix
the sandbags.
With the sandbags and the shooting, so those are mixed. So, yeah, stepping up to that, it's like, okay, here we are. And, the butterflies in, but, take a few deep breaths. I've literally trained an entire year for this moment. You know what to do.
Yeah.
Just go out and execute. And once that buzzer goes off and the time starts, just a blackout. Here we go.
You don't even remember what's happened.
Yeah, the butterflies are gone.
You need somebody to film it so you can go back and remember what happened.
Yeah.
And even talking about a tactical games nationals weekend, typically we do, maybe 4 stages per day. Here, it's 14 stages on the weekend.
Yep.
What have you learned? I know if anybody's wondering, Kurt eats very specific. It doesn't matter if he's on the road.
Yep.
He's not changing things.
No.
What is your key to success with nutrition, recovery, all of those little things that really do make a difference once you start competing?
Well, absolutely. Especially, I'm 40 years old, so, I have to take care of everything I have because age is definitely not on our side in this sport. But, we got dudes out here in 60 plus, so I can't say anything.
That's true.
But no, as far as nutrition goes, I'm just very regimented. So consistency, that's the key. I have a very regimented diet that I've built literally over a decade now of just figuring out what my body needs. I know what it needs when I'm training. I know what it needs while I'm at an event like this on my calorie intake and how many carbs I should be consuming. There's a really neat science behind it and all that kind of stuff to go down that nerd rabbit hole. But it's important, right? Because if you put crap in, you're going to get crap out, right? So you want to put good in so you can get good out. And if you aren't properly fueling yourself with good nutrition, and you suck out here and you don't get the performance you want, well, most likely you weren't giving your body what it needed to go out and do it. So that's why nutrition is so important.
So in between stages, a lot of athletes will talk about, okay, this is the opportunity that I can maybe eat the super sugary cereal. We talked about cereal yesterday, or have the little candy, those quick carbs in between. Is that something that you leverage by using those ultra-processed foods, or are you still trying to say, no, I'm going to choose maybe a banana with some honey instead because my body operates better with that?
So people do that and are very successful with it. I know people that write really good nutrition programs where they actually use ice creams and gummy bears. And
by the way, Kurt's not a nutritionist. I'm just getting insight from a high-level athlete here.
Yeah, so but so for me personally, no. As soon as I was done with the run, banana, honey. I went and started getting those carbs that are fast digesting, right? So, because that's what's the beauty of those, sugary foods, because your body will absorb them quickly. So we're trying to get those glycogen stores back up and all that kind of stuff. So but me, I choose to use whole foods. That's just for me personally. I just seem to operate better in that way.
Different strokes for different folks.
Hey, if it works for you, it works for you,
And these women are on to their last round. They were working through the ski erg, having some penalty burpees. I don't know that most competitors have not made any clean runs, especially when you're looking at, approximately a 590-yard target.
Yeah.
That's much further than what we see typically. I think that there's a couple regional events throughout the season where we get close to 600, but 590, especially when it's not, a two-gun stage or even just a rifle-only stage, is a little more rare in our sport.
Yeah, I'll say this. This distance and this target, if you were out here and just brought your, tactical game set up, you could engage that target all day.
Mm-hmm.
It's the addition of the exercise, right? You're getting your heart rate up, and now you're making contact with that rifle while your heart rate's elevated, your breathing's elevated. So now things are moving a lot more than you're probably not used to seeing in that reticle, right? So I remember the first time I did a tactical games event, watching my heart rate through the reticle, I was like,
well, that's to the system.
Yeah, that's a new thing, right? So the shot is actually not that challenging. Now, the wind is absolutely making it very challenging. I will say that. This wind out here it's been on all day long, and it's easily been gusting from 8 to 14 miles per hour, potentially even more, especially where they're shooting across, because there's a little valley right there. And when that bullet gets up into that, there's not as much to slow down that wind. So it's actually cruising a lot more than people are thinking. So it's absolutely doable, but in these conditions, that's going to be a challenging shot.
And that's right in the center. That's Chelsea Kling. She is in that squad of women's 40+. These will be her final penalty burpees, and then she will clock in a time for her second to last stage of Friday. But it was, I believe that's Tamra, also in that 40+ division, was able to skirt in quicker, because remember those penalty burpees, whoever shoots cleaner is going to be able to get across the finish line quicker.
Yeah, this is one of those stages with just how difficult that shot is with the wind, where you kind of have to evaluate, okay, can I sit here and take time on the line to actually try to engage this target, or do I risk it and just go do the work? So some people will play that game, right? It's like, well, I'm not going to hit that target because of how windy it is, or I'm not long range in my game. So I'm just going to do the best I can, but I'm going to do it quickly, and now I'm going to go do the penalty work, because 9 burpees over that box, not the most atrocious penalty in the world. So, that's a strategy some people might employ.
But so if long range isn't your game, and right now the next squad is going to reset and take the floor, but if long range isn't your game, and maybe we have a couple viewers that are from California or New York. I'm from New York.
Mm-hmm.
I get very, very little exposure to even shooting a rifle, let alone shooting at a long range. Is there a way that you can manipulate or mock or have some kind of way to practice if you don't necessarily have access to a long range?
Yeah, that's tough, because what you really are trying to get exposure to is the wind, right? Anyone can go out and put a gun on a bench, put up a target in perfect conditions and shoot, right? Because the rifles that we have nowadays are very capable, right? They can shoot very accurately, as long as you have a base level skills on how to manipulate that rifle and the trigger press and some things like that. But when you come out here, but to get that exposure is hard to create it if you don't have the distance, because wind affects bullet over distance, right? So if you're only shooting to 100, you're not going to see that bullet move as much. Now, if you only have 100 yards, okay, well, go put up a golf ball.
Yeah.
Right, and practice just super precise shots, right? So learn how to control that breath, control the trigger squeeze, learn everything, the recoil impulse, all those types of things, get in proper alignment and be just insanely accurate. And then just as far as the wind goes, heck, I'm a nerd about it. I'll go outside, get out my Kestrel, and I'll sit there and be like, okay, and then I'll look at things, like looking at this flag. All right, so that's what that flag looks like at 7 miles per hour, right?
Oh, so you'll actually be able to visualize it and know about
That's what I did out here. So I came out here.
Wow, that's actually super impressive.
I had a flag down by, I was in lane 2, and there's a flag down there. And so I sat here and I watched my Kestrel and I watched that flag and just kind of got an idea. And I watched the flags up here as well. And just to kind of get an idea of what they looked like under certain wind speeds. And so I could adjust off that, right? So because it's variable. So I'm watching what the variance is and trying to pick it up off the things that I can, calculate, right? Because if you just look down there and be like, okay, all right, you see a tree moving, okay, right? But, and I may know what that is because I've studied it, but like I'd rather have a flag or something like that. So
some kind of reference
some type
point.
of reference point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. The more you know, the more that you can be out there and observe, the better. And our next squad to take the floor is now, once again, a mix. We're going to have the women's 40 plus. That's going to be lanes 1 through 4. And then we will have one athlete in this squad from the women's 50 plus. And 50 plus is the first time for the women's out here at nationals. The same can be said about our men's 60 plus, 2 brand new divisions that we have introduced into tactical games. And it's solely come off of not just want, but need. We're seeing athletes training and competing into those 40s, 50s, 60s. We even have a couple of athletes that are in their 70s that come out and compete. So it's really cool to see the progression. But right in the center, closest to us laying down in the baseball hat with the red and the white, that's Becky Wagner. She is in that in that 40 plus division. She won 3 out of 3 of her regional events this season. I talked to her a little bit ago, and she was saying, this is a tough field.
Oh, yeah.
You think that only the elites are the tough fields, but no, the 40 plus, the 50 plus, the men's, the women's tactical, it really doesn't matter what division you're in this weekend. Being on that podium is incredibly hard.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. This is the highest level of competition that we offer, so, come out and get it.
Come out and get it. It's up for the taking. Also in this heat, we have Lauren Sharpless. We have Jamie Lasko. Once again, we have Becky Wagner, Carla Hedzik, and then in the women's 50, Michelle Toomey. And Michelle Toomey will be in that closest lane to us that we'll see in just a bit. And you'll notice her box is going to be a little shorter because for the women's 50 plus, it's at 36 inches. And for the women's 40 plus, it's 42. And the men's elite, they're at 48 inches. The tallest box that we've ever seen out here. And these were
I'm pretty sure
custom
that's
made.
as tall as Hepner is.
We're going to need to clip that and send it to him. It is. We'll have to get him a side-by-side to see who's actually taller.
Yeah.
Is it him or the box?
Yeah. Get him a little footstool over there. Yeah, I mean, you can see how much penalty work they're doing after just that rifle.
Yeah, and my anticipation is that it only is going to get harder the deeper they get into it.
Yep.
But as you mentioned in the last heat, once again, that's Becky Wagner, first to her second iteration on the bike erg, but the bike erg's going to be the easiest. Yes, it gets your heart rate up, and it definitely gives you a quad pump, but it's not fatiguing your grip. You don't necessarily need to use your core and get the rest of your body into it the way you're going to need to with the ski erg and the rower.
Yep. Yeah, that grip thing becomes especially with the pistol. It's a decent little pistol shot. I think it's a 6-inch piece of steel at 20 yards. But man, even standing there fresh, depending on your level of skill, that can be a challenging shot. So now go do it with a fatigued grip and your heart rate elevated. It gets real fun.
Is there a different way that you have practiced to hold, whether the ski erg handles or the rowing handles, that will help or save your grip at all?
I mean, well, there's not much you can really do because at the end of the day, you're having to transfer your energy into that handle. So the only way you can do it is by your grip. So, yeah, I mean, you got to find times, obviously, on the upstroke. I'm trying to relax my grip as much as I can because I'm not doing anything at that point. Same with the row. As I'm coming back into the rower, I'm trying to relax that grip and not always just be so tense the whole time. So I only need to grip it when I need it.
And Becky there, she is in the lead. She had no penalties on her first round of pistol, 20 yards out. So she was clean on that. No burpees. But now on to the rower, and that's when things start to get real.
Yeah. So it's really important to just understand pace. Like, you have to have a really good understanding of your pace on all three of these machines, and kind of understanding where you can push but still be comfortable, so you can come out and not be in a state to where you can't make accurate shots. Because once you start missing, now you got to start doing, penalty work.
How much do you factor in, okay, I'm going to do this stage at home in my training, but I'm going to try to stay in zone 3, and okay, I'm going to do this stage, and today I want to be in zone 4. Do you implement that a lot, or is that more rare for you?
I'd say it's more rare, honestly. I mean, I definitely do it. I'll definitely go out because, you need to train under that, level of tension and stress, just to be comfortable with it. But I truly separate those two a lot more than people would probably imagine, and try to focus on, my shooting, my skills, my fundamentals, and the barricade work, understanding how to get into all these barricades that we have that are, pretty all specific now. So, you can save off a lot of time if you understand your positions and how to get comfortable in them. Because if you can get in a comfortable position on these barricades, your elevated heart rate and breathing isn't as much as a factor. But if you can't get into these positions properly, now you're in trouble.
And Becky's working through her penalty burpees as some of these other ladies potentially join her. So we're at about the halfway mark. 15-minute time cap on this one. So that would be her. She just got done with rifle. Did you notice anything about her stance when she was in the prone position?
No, she looked like she had good body alignment, which is important just for the recoil impulse. You want to make sure that you got a good, line going down from that buttstock all the way down through your legs to make sure you can absorb that recoil so that you can stay on target. Because one thing that's going to be massively important in this stage specifically is spotting your misses. So, because if you can spot your misses and get a good understanding of what's actually going on out there, because now you're getting live data.
And you can adjust.
You can adjust.
If you don't know where the shot went,
if you
it's
don't
hard
know where
to
the shot went, now
make
you start from
corrections.
ground zero again. So it's really important to have that good solid position so that you can look out there and be like, okay, yeah, I'm not far enough left, or I'm actually holding too much, or I need to come up or down, whatever it is, because there is a berm up there, and you should be able to get some feedback from it, or you're probably hitting your other competitor's target, which is a thing.
Which happens more than you would anticipate.
Yes, it does.
I never like to see myself in a center lane. It's always good to be on the end because you can see, okay, let me work my way in.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're in lane, 4 or 5, and this specific stage, you might be getting some love from the dudes that are in 1, 2, and 3.
That's true. That's true.
That's a good left or right now.
You'll get other people's hits.
Yeah. I mean, if you're having to hold, 2 or plus, 2 plus mils, you could, and you're not actively doing that, you are absolutely going to be hitting the target next to you with this type of wind.
Once again, Becky is your leader all the way to the top of your screen. That's going to be Lauren Sharpless. And Becky, she's got kind of an interesting story. So she started Tactical Games in 2023, and another athlete that came from a strong CrossFit background. She's been a CrossFit coach. She also is a horse trainer, and she was somebody that really took to, I'm not that great at shooting. I have somewhat of a background with hunting, but not competitive shooting. And she, has done every athlete camp. She's in every tune-up when she competes. She's hired coaches. She's gone to training. And last year she was able to be just outside of the podium, finished 5th. This is a year where she really is trying to push and sneak up on that leaderboard.
She's put in the work.
That's something that this sport rewards, putting in the work. You can't, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you have the nicest setup, the nicest equipment, all the time in the world. If you're not training and doing the work,
yeah, for sure,
it doesn't matter what your gear looks like.
Oh, yeah. No, I've met, plenty of people that, have disposable income that think that they can go buy skills. It just doesn't work that way. Most of them would be better off just buying, Glocks are great pistols, but they could buy a Glock, for much less money, but then go take the rest of the money that they were going to spend on a high-end pistol and go take classes. And they would significantly improve their capabilities just by doing that.
So Becky, now that was her first iteration on the ski erg. So this will be her final round. I think she'll have some company close behind, but as we mentioned at the beginning, because of the penalty burpees, we do know that Becky is in the lead. We don't need to go to scoring. We don't need to look at her targets because they're all steel, which I think is, once again, great as a spectator. So if you're at home, if you live within driving distance, come to this event. Being out here and just immersing yourself in the community is truly like no other.
This is a great event. I mean, they did an incredible job. Like, it's, you know, the past events, they were great in their own right, but this one's all here. And it has just a different vibe to it. Everyone's here. We're not having to go somewhere else. Right? It's a really neat atmosphere.
We're set up at one place all weekend,
Yes.
3 days. Becky, will see how she shot on the rifle here. It looks like she'll have a couple of burpees.
Yeah, if you're cleaning that, you're dialed, or someone else is helping you a whole bunch from your left or right.
I know that playing the what if game is fun, but it's also like, well, what if? It doesn't really give you data.
Sure.
If you were out doing this right now, knowing how good you are at long range,
Right.
is this something where you could get clean targets on the rifle?
I'd be willing to bet, I mean, after the first few rounds, if I'm getting good data, I mean, I'd be hard pressed if I miss more than one or two. I'd be pretty upset. Clean runs will be challenging just because of the variation of the wind out there. But when we were scheduled to go, we're the literal last group to go. So we actually are going to be shooting at night. So they're actually...
Is that less windy? I'm not a meteorologist. Right?
I mean, technically, yes, the wind should die down.
Okay.
But it's a little more interesting because now I don't get anything.
Oh.
All I can see is the target because they're going to light up the targets apparently with some light. So all I can see is the target. I don't get to see the berm behind it. There's a windsock out there. I sat there a lot earlier this week and calibrated that windsock, so I knew exactly what it was doing and what the wind calibrated to. So I was using it and watching it as it dips and fills. So you won't get that. So this evening would have been really interesting to go out there and attempt that long range stage. But I mean, you know, just knowing the things that I know and the skills that I have, you know, once I get that good data, I mean, now it's just repeating it and adjusting to the conditions.
I think we might have a race here. Becky's closest to us, but Lauren is all the way at the top of your screen on the other side of Becky's volunteer, and both of them are on their final ski erg. Becky has been able to shoot at least one round clean on the pistol. I'm unsure how Lauren has shot on the pistol. I know Becky is strong on machines, but it's going to be a tight race to see. Okay, it's going to come down to who's the better shooter at the end.
Yeah, because this is the last implement, right? Yeah, ski.
It is.
Yeah.
And this is their second of 2 times on the ski erg.
So they'll go to pistol.
And look, and Lauren now is actually first, but Becky,
Yeah, that doesn't matter though.
right behind her.
You got to go hit steel now. Mm-hmm. So this is where you need to slow down. Like if you know that this is your last round, go up there and just don't draw your pistol for a second. Take a few breaths. Like, because I know if she misses one and I can go clean because I took that extra few seconds to relax, well, now she's, you know, I've got her beat. Let's see.
And Lauren is done first.
I saw someone go down.
I think, sorry, we have a little bit of glitch here. I think.
Oh, there you go.
Did Becky get
She
across
only
first?
had one.
Yep, and Lauren's still going. So Becky will
one
take
miss.
the heat win for the women's 40-plus division. And Lauren's got a couple more to go. But what a fun race. And it is interesting that you say that you take a deep breath, because if you eliminate the shooting, you sometimes try to go for broke. How fast can I push my pace? But I think
in this specific style, it rewards you to take a second, so that because the penalty work, and now granted this penalty work isn't that terrible. Like we've had some penalty work, like where we did in Iowa, where we had that ruck and they had to go up and over that hill.
Oh yeah,
that was a nightmare, right? So you
was
really
bad
want to take your
penalty
time. But
work.
for this, like, okay, it's not the worst penalty in the world, but still it takes time. So if you can go up there and take just a few seconds just to gather yourself. and now you can put good shots on that and just get a good rhythm. Well, now, she came off the ski after her, but because of her pistol shooting, she took the stage win.
And I think that it can't be underestimated getting over those tall boxes and the tricep fatigue. They're hand release burpees, number one, and then getting yourself up and over, especially if you're short like Jacob Hepner. We're going to ask him how his triceps feel after, because you add the ski erg into that, super tricep intensive.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, me and burpees don't get along anyway, so,
Is it your least favorite movement?
Oh, it's up there, especially for the ones that we do here. Yeah, I mean.
What burpees do you like?
None. They don't exist.
Standing at 5'1¼ I don't mind burpees.
Yeah.
Getting over the box, I mind that.
Yeah.
That makes it just enough of a challenge. And yeah, this is just one of 3 days.
That went time. Yeah, I think they hit time. Yeah.
And they are done. That is, once again, our women's 40 plus, as well as one of our athletes from our women's 50 plus. But Becky Wagner will take that event win. She and the rest of this squad will have one more stage on the day. Guess what they're ending with? The 20-minute AMRAP run in the dark. There'll be lights. There'll be lights.
Oh, man, that's going to be brutal. I about broke my ankle 10 times up there.
Just because of the elements?
Just the rocks and all the undulation that's up there. It's just got to be. That's where we are.
It's part of tactical games.
Yeah.
Is, again, being out here, trying to be an athlete. We'll have one more squad that we will cover here at Stage 6, and this will be a full squad of the women's 50-plus division.
What we got going on with the name here?
So that comes from when we were in Poland. It's half joke, but they were like bike, row, ski.
Okay.
Because that's what they're doing, and how can we make it sound a little more Polish? Bakraski. Maybe that doesn't sound Polish.
I think that was pretty good.
It was some kind of accent, not my own. But so yeah, what we like to do, if y'all have never been exposed to tactical games before, all of our stages are named something that's, an inside joke with the team, or some of them are movie references, and they go all over the place. I think the run was called 100 meters more.
Yes.
Do you know why?
No. Oh, that's y'all's mountain excursion, wasn't it?
So when we were in Poland for our first ever Tactical Games Europe event, we were told we're going to go on a hike. And when somebody tells me we're going on a hike, I think, oh, it's going to be this beautiful scenic thing. I can wear, my rain shoes, my running shoes, something, not too intense. It was mountaineering. This was not a hike. This was full scaling mountains.
Why are you handing me a helmet?
Yes, the helmet. We had a helmet. We had tethers. We had chains. And I didn't really ask questions because we never signed a waiver, and there was never a safety course. So I didn't think it was going to be too hard.
This will be fine.
But anyways, yeah, I think we all thought, this will be fine. And we get, hours into this overnight hike. We started at, 9 p.m. We ended at 7:30 a.m. And we were looking for a cave so that we could make some coffee, relax, maybe get some shut-eye. And for 2 to 3 straight hours, the group we were with said 100 meters more. And that's when I lost trust in humanity.
You were lying to me.
I do not believe when anybody says 100 meters more. Yeah. I know that our metric systems are different, but yeah, it was a good time nonetheless, and that group was super fun. And now our second squad, our full squad of women's 50 plus is about to get out there. We have Marcy Gavadia. She was at our games our event, our regional event in Poland. So now she's made it back stateside. We also have Tara Figueroa. We have Andrea Hillbrand, Kimberly Heron, and Krissa Dustman. Those are our 40 plus ladies out here, or I'm sorry, our 50 plus. They look so young.
I know.
They look too good. And it's because they don't make excuses. They're out here working hard. Starting on that wonderful bike erg, enjoying this first round. 9 calories for the ladies as they then move to the firing line for 9 shots, starting with that rifle. Once again, about 590 yards on steel.
I'm pretty sure the Marcy in lane 1, I was at her first regional event, and I want to say it was South Carolina. And she came up to me. She was getting ready, it was during Gil's little tune-up.
Oh, yeah.
And I happened to be there. I don't know if you remember that weekend. I was there just for fun. I ended up winning women's tactical, I think is what I won that weekend. It was an interesting weekend.
Okay.
But, so she came up. She goes, will you help me zero my rifle? And it was her first event.
Oh, amazing.
And now look at her. She's in nationals.
Yeah, she's at nationals. She competes all the time. I think this is also a little fun fact about her. She's known for her iconic pictures in this long dress, like between 15 and meters long dress that she'll wear on boats. She wore on one of the tanks in Poland, and they drove it around, and the chain or the train on the dress blows in the wind, and they're these beautiful pictures of her that I think is just kind of a fun thing that she packs this long purple dress, travels the world with it, and gets some fun photos out of it.
All right.
And now transfers into the range gear. She's very diverse in her outfits.
Yeah, you get all kinds of walk of life in here.
You certainly do. So that's Tara up to the top left of your screen, and then right next to her, Andrea getting to work on both of their hand release burpees before they make it to their bike for the second time in this first round. But at this point of the day, I mean, we talk about being out in the elements, but I think something that also can't be under-exaggerated is the sun. Ooh. And making sure that you're putting on sunscreen or finding shade in between, because that alone takes a lot out of you.
It'll suck you out of it, especially in Texas.
Especially in Texas.
We had, when I first got here Monday, it was cold. It was real cold.
And the mornings were very cold.
Yeah, and now, of course, now it's getting all nice and spicy out here for us.
Luckily, we got some shade now.
Yeah, I got the moon dust blowing everywhere.
If you've ever been to Reverly Peak Ranch, that has iconic dust and dirt because it's that red clay.
So from what I understand, and I don't know if this is 100% true, but
if you say it with confidence, it's true, Kurt.
I'm pretty sure, but I'm pretty sure he takes this dirt, and it's the dirt they use on pitchers' mounds and on the infields of baseball fields, professional baseball fields, because of the color and how fine it is. I'm pretty sure it's things. So it's.
I don't know if that's true either, but I'm going to start telling people that.
I was told that, so I'm pretty sure it's.
I'm going to track down. I'm going to track down the fact.
Because once this stuff gets in your shoes or any gear, it doesn't leave.
Oh, we say that as we have all of this really nice, expensive camera equipment.
Yeah, it's now part of it.
And it is.
Doing some pistol work.
And that was, again, Andrea Hilderbrand.
Oh, she go clean? There you go.
It must be the lucky lane because Becky went clean on the pistol in the same round, too. So she'll now, be on her first round, or her second round, but her first iteration of the 9 cals on the row. And she looks like she's really moving on there.
Yeah.
You can just kind of tell when an athlete has a lot of force.
One of those things where, like for me, my strategy was going into this, like I know I can get stable on that tank trap, prone, and I'm very confident in my ability to shoot distance. So I would push it on the rounds where I get to shoot rifle. Rounds I'm shooting pistol, like maybe knock it down a notch just because of, now I'm freestanding, I don't have any support at a 6-inch steel at 20 yards, right? So that would be my variation. I would actually go hard and then come back down as I go to shoot pistol.
I don't know how much you want to give away, but on a stage like this, what are the like meters per hour or cals per hour that you are trying to hold? Do you have a specific range that you like?
Yeah, I mean for 12 we would do 12 calories.
Yep.
From what I
Yep.
understand.
So all men are doing 12.
Yeah, so for 12 calories on this specific type of stage, you know, on the on the bike erg, I'm probably going to be flirting with around, you know, somewhere around on the rifle, probably north of 1500. You know, when it comes to pistol, probably a little bit below. And then when it comes to the ski erg or the row, 12 calories, I don't know, probably like, I mean, I'll probably be up in 1700 calories
wow.
per hour. Yeah, for rifle.
You're really pulling that.
Probably keep it down around 1400 for a pistol. And then
so you change based on whether you're shooting rifle or pistol.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, that's
got
what
it.
I'm saying. Yes, because I know I can get much more stable with that rifle position, and I'm not worried about my breathing so much because I'm steady just because of the position itself, and I can dislocate myself from the rifle because I don't need it necessarily to be wedged into me like if we were standing freestyle. Right?
Okay, yeah, for sure.
So, and then as far as the ski goes, I mean, I would just be cranking on the ski at that point. Yeah.
Andrea, your leader, as she continues through some of these penalty burpees.
Because a lot of it has to do with your efficiency on the machine and learning how to manipulate, I say manipulate, but manipulate the machine so that you're doing it in a way to get the most calories per hour with the less amount of energy output. And there's ways to do it. And if you know how to do it on like the skier specifically, it's you can actually do it and crank out some calories pretty fast without having to crush yourself and really jack up your heart rate.
Is that something you were able to find out on your own? Did another athlete tell you? Have you taken, you know, a Concept 2 course? How did you come across that
Just time
insight?
in the gym.
Okay.
I mean, I've been working out for, good Lord, decades now. So it's just something that, you know, over time okay, let's try this. And, you know, one thing of it was High Rocks kind of snuck in to my gym a little bit. And, you know, they do all the ski, you know, the Concept 2 machines as well. And so a lot of that is about efficiency. And so I would catch videos of people talking about how to be efficient on these machines, and then I would go apply it, and it actually worked really well.
Have you had the opportunity or any interest to compete in any High Rocks?
I actually was signed up to compete in one last year, and then I didn't do it because I wanted to come compete in the tactical games. So, yeah, you know, I was like, I'm not a big fan of running.
Do I want to run or do I want to shoot and do other things too?
Yeah.
And maybe run for one stage.
Right, yeah. So,
That's fair.
Yeah.
But it is cool to see just, you know, you talk to a lot of the athletes and figure out what does their training look like, and there is so much crossover with those other fitness sports. I mean, you have High Rocks, you have CrossFit, you have obstacle course racing, Spartan race, you know, the list goes on, and even a lot of athletes doing strongman, and we use the sandbag so much in this sport that I think it is really cool how much crossover you truly do see.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't be a one-trick pony in this world. You got to be able to do it all. I mean, we have, you know, 250-pound sandbag right here in front of us. You know, you got a rope rig over here. You know, you got your wheelbarrows and farmer's carries. I mean, you know, there's a lot of strongman influence in this sport, but then you've got the aerobic stuff with, like, you know, the Concept 2 equipment. So you gotta be all over the place and be efficient in all areas to be really successful.
So then when you're looking at your training, what is the balance of, okay, I know that I need to work with sandbags because we see them in some capacity at every event. I know I need to do rope climbs because we see them at the majority. Do you program for yourself?
No, I'm not that skilled. I wish. I mean, it's a really interesting, but it takes a legitimate knowledge of so many different metrics to be able to program effectively. And so, I mean, could I probably put something together? Sure. But there are people out there that are like savants in that stuff, and they just get it. They're like, okay, this is the stimulus. This is the end goal over here. This is where you are. Like, you know, I'm 40 versus being 20. Like, so there's a bunch of different.
Makes a difference.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different factors on how I would train now versus a 20-year-old me would train. Right. So because of just injury, just, you know, a used and abused body. So You know.
So then based on what your coach programs for you, what is the balance between the different things that we see out here in tactical games?
Oh, man. I mean, you got to touch on all of it constantly. I mean, the one thing that I've learned, especially just with the sandbags, you know, the ropes are a skill. You learn the technique, and the technique doesn't change. But with like a sandbag, I'm trying to make that 250-pound sandbag as light as humanly possible to me, right? So I've been doing a ton of stress carries, right? Ton of stress carries because it's so taxing on the system. And so just getting used to picking that sandbag up because we know we're going to do it a bunch. So making it feel so it's not so taxing on the posterior chain, like just smoking my hamstrings. Like, and I mean, even still though, out here on that 250, like my hamstrings were at their breaking point. I thought I was actually going to fall over at one point.
Wow, really?
Oh yeah. You know, because I mean, we did the 100, the 150, the 200, and the 250. You know, and you're doing it for a pretty significant amount of, you know, length at the end of the day. It's a lot, but you know, so hitting it constantly. Every week I want to make sure I'm touching sandbags. Every week I want to make sure I'm, you know, at least, you know, getting a rope climb in, or, you know, hitting some farmer's carries. Like grip strength is massive out here. So always doing things that work on grip strength. And then the ski ergs and the Concept 2 equipment, I'm always including those somehow, right? So you just, you know, it's a nice balance of everything, because I need to go out and do a ruck, or I need to go out and do a run, or whatever.
You never get sick of it because there's enough
dude,
variety.
It's every day. I'm like, okay, what's today going to be like? You know, what nightmare am I going to get to deal with today? So
there's a lot of different
that's
versions
an
of the
interesting
nightmare.
strategy.
Oh, so actually what we're seeing right in front of us,
What in the world?
I am curious because could you consider that we see somebody holding a sandbag on their back, almost think of a turtle, because it says stress carry, but it says above the knees. So I am curious because it is above the knees, and this just kind of goes back to talking about how athletes truly game it. They read the rules. They see, okay, if I hold it like this, it's technically.
I feel like my shoulders would explode if I did that.
Rule. He must have some great shoulder mobility.
Yeah.
And check our Instagram. I'm sure that there's a photographer or videographer over there that can grab a shot of that.
Maybe it worked. Maybe that's the way. Maybe we're all screwed up.
Maybe we all have been doing it wrong. It's funny. Our RO Travis is on there, and he can hear us talking. He looks at us.
He abandoned it.
He kind of shook his head. He's like, yeah, it's above his knees.
I dig it. I'm all about it.
But it did look like, yep, because there is Andrea Hilderbrand. She was able to take the heat win for the women's 50-plus. As the rest of the competitors, I know we're getting close to the time cap, but the rest are in that final round of the ski erg. That's Tara working on her hand release burpee box get overs, and based on her speed, I think she might be closing in to the end, just the way she drops down so quick.
Yeah, she's been around for a while, man. She's got a lot of experience.
And she's just, I mean, if you've ever had an opportunity to talk to her, I have this form that I try to have athletes fill out, and one of the questions is, you know, what's your most notable moment about competing out here? And she put, it's never about where I place on the leaderboard. People probably won't remember where I place on the leaderboard, but I try to make an impact by having these human connections and relationships.
Yeah, man,
and that, like, to the T is Tara. She's just
for sure.
a great human.
And that's the whole community, too. I mean, you know, it's, you know, obviously this weekend didn't go the way I wanted it to, but, you know, like, if it wasn't for the dudes out here, I probably would have just packed up and left. You know, and all the people out here that have been so supportive and, you know, just open arms all the time. That's the whole community. It's an incredible community all around.
Well, it's great to have you out here, too. And as much as I would love to be talking about you later this evening in the competitive race, because Kurt, like, it's going to be tight with that group. It truly has been so insightful to have you on this end of the competition floor, and I hope the folks listening through the last three heats, and I'm sure they have gained some kind of knowledge or insight that they might have never thought about before. So it is very much appreciated that you're taking the time to jump on the broadcast with us.
Sure, of course. Glad to be here.
the next year, 2026.
Oh yeah. No.
When does training for that start now? Will you take a true deload, vacation? We see your wife and your dog over there. Are you going to go on holiday? I know she wants to go to the spa.
Yeah.
You taking her to the spa later?
Oh yeah. No, it's gonna, the body needs some time, man. It's I pushed really, really hard this year to come out and to win this thing. And I feel like I was prepared, but at the end of the day, you make one small mistake and it can send you home, and it is what it is, and the rules are what they are, and you gotta abide by those, and that's what keeps our sport alive. I mean, they put these rules in place for a reason, and they can't wiggle on them, because one bad thing goes wrong because they open a little wiggle room, then the whole sport can just come down. So we don't want that, So I have nothing but respect for the Nick and both Nicks and everyone that is involved with this this sport, and they do a great job of it. And so, but yeah, next year I'll be coming back with a severe vengeance.
And sometimes that's the best motivator that people can have to wind up exactly where they are.
Oh yeah. I mean, even after last year, when I had a pretty rough weekend, I ended up finishing 4th. I missed the podium by 0.21%. That was my post earlier before this weekend started, and I came out to Florida after that, and people were like, "Hey man, like whoever hurt you, it's okay. We all like you here." And I was like, "Yeah, I got something to prove. Like, this is a sport I love, and I've contributed and a lot to it personally. And it's I really believe in it, and I think it's going to do great things for a lot of people. And so I love giving back and teaching those classes and helping people out. Like I've had plenty of people come over and talk to me about the win.
Yeah.
And I love that. So I'm all about giving back and being a part of this community. And just wish I could be out there suffering with the boys, but now I get to cheer them on.
You get to cheer them on, be here on the other side, and we appreciate you as always, Kurt. I wish you the best in 2026. I can't wait to talk about the comeback story from Kurt Fennell. I'm Lauren Khalil. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to take a little bit of a break, and then we are going to end the night covering 4 back-to-back of the men's elite heat over at stage 6. So we'll be able to know the winner of that final heat to close out day 1 of competition in real time. I'm Lauren Khalil. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys in just a bit.